Well, Commonwealth nations have pledged their support for the disaster in the Philippines. Heads of states have been arriving for a summit in Sri Lanka, and the meeting has been overshadowed by allegations that Colombo is failing to investigate alleged human rights abuses against the Tamil minority during the Civil War. Britain's Prime Minister is attending, but 3 other leaders are not attending, and that includes India's Prime Minister as well as Canada's.
The heads of governments of 53 nations of the Commonwealth meeting are coming together. They come together every 2 years for this summit, and now leaders have been encouraged actually to wear national dress, though several have decided to stay away. This is the opening ceremony you're seeing in Colombo. A few have, as I mentioned, decided to boycott this gathering in Sri Lanka. The Prime Ministers of Canada, India, Mauritius have said that Sri Lanka's President Mahinda Rajapaksa shouldn't have been allowed to host this summit, and again criticised the government's actions during the final stretch of the conflict against the Tamil Tigers. They say this goes against Commonwealth's values, which were committed to democracy and human rights. Of course, as this conference takes place, you can see the British Prime Minister David Cameron there, as I mentioned earlier, has been overshadowing this conference by accusing legitimate accusations of war crimes.
Ahead of Chogm's official opening, the Sri Lankan president has gone on the defensive. His country faces increasing pressure from the international community to bring those responsible for abuses during the 30-year civil war to justice. But Mahinda Rajapaksa rejects criticism of Sri Lanka's human rights record.
If anyone who wants to complain about a human rights violation in Sri Lanka, whether it is torture, whether it is rape, whether it is... We have a system. You all must respect the system of a country, the culture of a country.
En route to Colombo, meeting briefly with his Indian counterpart Manmohan Singh in India, Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron was also on the defensive. While Mr Singh has followed the lead of Canada's Stephen Harper by staying away from Chogm, Mr Cameron says more can be done by being there.
There's always a case for not going somewhere, but I think actually we'll get further by going and having conversations with the Sri Lankans about what needs to happen.
Mr Cameron says Britain, India and Canada all want the same from Colombo: more effort towards reconciliation.
There are some positive steps that have been taken in Sri Lanka. The fact that there is a process of reconciliation, it's just not going as far as we'd like it to go.
And rights groups agree. They say holding Chogm in Sri Lanka raises questions about what the Commonwealth stands for.